All right. Are we live? I got a notification that we're recording.
Shaw, we are live and the backup recording is being turned on now. You're good.
Great. Thank you so
Yep,
much,
you're good to
Sean.
go.
Oh, let's see. Is the recording stopped? Did I do that?
Nope, I just fixed it. You are recording and we're streaming on YouTube. You've got it.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Welcome everyone to the Identity Special Interest Group for October 17th, 2024. Let's see. Thank you for joining us today. Today we'll go over working group status updates, and then we'll hear a presentation from Daniel Bula of Society Online, which is an identity and e-citizen framework for secure communities. So thank you so much, Daniel, for joining us, and we're looking forward to your presentation. Since this is a Linux Foundation call, we are following the antitrust policy, and we've also got the code of conduct listed here as well. We're recording the call and we will post it on the meeting page later today. Let's see. In terms of attendees, if you'd like to put your name down on the list, that would be great. Let's see, it looks like a lot of familiar faces here, but if anybody wants to come off mute and introduce themselves, feel free. All right, here's that link to the meeting page. In terms of announcements, IAW is coming up soon. That'll be October 29th to 31st. There's also an LFDT member summit coming up as well on November 13th. There's an Identis workshop, develop decentralized identity solutions using Hyperledger Identis, which is a technical workshop which will guide you through the basics of Hyperledger Identis. And so there are links to registration and details there if you would like to join. Are there any other announcements or if you want to jump in with introductions, anything else that anybody would like to bring to the call before we start? Let's see. I'll also just call out the next few meetings for this group for the SIG. In 2 weeks, we have to cancel this meeting in favor of IAW. 2 weeks after that, on November 14th, we will be joined by the DIF Executive Director, Kim Hamilton Duffy, for presentation on DIF updates. The 2 weeks after that, we will have to cancel for the Thanksgiving holiday. On December 12th, 2 weeks after that, we will be joined by Vipin Bharathan, who will talk about post-quantum cryptography NIST recommendations. And then then 2 weeks after that, we'll have to cancel for the winter holidays. So a few cancellations coming up due to holidays and IAW, but that's a quick overview of what's ahead. So unless anybody has any announcements, I will jump right into the working group status updates. I'll go through these quickly so that we have plenty of time for the presentation, but feel free to jump in and stop me if you have updates on any groups that you are involved in. So we'll start with now the Open Wallet Foundation, which is now the home of a lot of these groups that we've been tracking. In Aries, the project proposal was accepted by the DIF. Yes, Sean, if you want to
Yeah,
jump in.
so just real quickly, a couple of Open Wallet Foundation projects were recently added, specifically Octopi, ASCAR, DIDCOM Mediator Service, and formerly known as Aries Test Harness. Now it's going to be the OWL Agent Test Harness. We have set up meetings for Acapug and Aries Maintainer. We also have a special interest group, which used to be the Aries Working Group, is now going to be the wallet interoperability special interest group at the Open Wallet Foundation. That is going to kick off the first week after IIW. So that would be the week of November 4th. And I'm getting that together. I will make sure to post it in the IDSIG Discord, but we're also going to paper the walls with the updated meetings and the new Zoom rooms that folks are moving over to. I am also going to attempt to add the new Zoom rooms to the old calendar objects for these Aries meetings. I will be in the old Aries meeting rooms in case folks didn't get the update or their calendar didn't update. We want to make sure everyone gets the right spot. But those groups are all moving over right now.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for those updates. And for the wallet interop SIG, it sounds like the new schedule with that will be an alternating one where it's every week, but one alternating weeks, it's an hour earlier. Do I have that
Yes.
right?
Yeah, Shar, once again, you're ahead of me, and I forgot to mention that. So, due to a meeting conflict with the Open Wallet Foundation Technical Advisory Council, which Stephen Karan, who's one of the maintainers of Occupy, is going to be, he is now a TAC member as well at Open Wallet Foundation. We're going to have to offset the every other week calendar. I am going to make this as clear and explicit as possible, and because of the way that LFX works, there will only be one URL for the odd weeks and one URL for the even weeks. So we'll make sure to get that straightened out for everybody, but it will be offset by an hour. Thanks, Shar.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to getting that kicked off right after IW. Yeah, thank you for those updates. Let's see, in Aries Cloud Agent Python, also discussing progress on the move to the Open Wallet Foundation. That is coming along well. The release 1.1.0 RC0 is out, and more release candidates are coming out as well. There were also discussions of preparing a webinar about Occupy, which will cover, I believe the demo will be traction, and it will go over architectural overview, features, business use cases, governance, that sort of thing. So stay tuned for more information about that. Let's see, on non-creds as well, they received a status update on the revocation manager for the Allosaur project. It's a Hyperledger mentorship project that's being executed. There's a document with the project plan linked if you're interested. Let's see. For Hyperledger Indy, we've been hearing progress updates on the Read Replica mentorship project from the mentee who's working on that, the Ubuntu 22.04 upgrade, as well as the Indy Bezu work. There have been bug fixes related to schema and credef identifiers, and that work is coming along well. Let's see, moving to the Trust Over IP Foundation, they had an all members meeting yesterday where they went over all their working group status updates. Let's see, the communications committee has not met in a while, but correct me if you're aware of their recent happenings. In the governance stack working group, they had a working session on the 2IP governance meta model spec v2 revisions, and they're discussing the new global acceptance network, which has launched recently. In the technology stack working group, they have a bunch of task forces that are doing a bunch of cool stuff. The technology architecture task force, they have a second public review draft that's nearly complete. The trust registry task force is moving back to meeting every other week because there's a lot of interest in implementing the trust registry query protocol. The trust spanning protocol task force is working on revisions. The ACDC task force, did WebS, did method task forces are moving to the new Carry Suite working group. And yeah, that's a super quick overview of their task forces. Let's see, and it looks like the concepts and terminology group is meeting regularly too and working on the 2IP glossary, V1, the spec up, and the main TRIP glossary. Let's see, in terms of the diff, in the DIDCOM spec working group, they are talking about shifts in leadership in the OpenAI DIDCOM work. They are also planning a session on message handling for IAW, and it sounds like the student project for the student on the home assistant project is that project is being paused currently. Let's see, in the corresponding working group for the for DIDCOM, they're in the middle of planning a hackathon and getting responses related to the interopathon. Let's see, the trusted web working group has found its home in the diff, and they are working on spec updates and implementation notes. Let's see, it looks like a new version is out, a new site is published. Let's see, and they have made updates to the DidTW web server. Let's see, for the interoperability group and the IoT SIG, I don't believe they've been meeting recently, but correct me if I'm mistaken. Let's see, the W3C had their CCG call this week as well, yesterday. And on the Open Wallet Foundation, there are links here to the calendar and wallet and agents overview SIG. Sean, was there anything else you wanted to add on the Open Wallet Foundation?
It turns out I didn't actually finish putting links into my post, and I apologize for that. We'll get them
No
updated.
worries.
I will get them updated while Daniel's giving his presentation. I don't want to take any more time away from him, but we're preparing a webinar to support the move to OWF for Occupi, which we're super excited about, and we thank that team. I'm going to get the Occupug recording and the maintainers link in there while Daniel's doing his thing. We do have a meeting calendar link in there. The Wallets and Agents overview did a fantastic AMA in the last hour. I'm going to try to post the recording here when it's ready. It's also going to be on the Open Wallet Foundation YouTube channel. But if you have a wallet project and you would like it listed on the Wallets and Agents overview SIG, there is a process for that, and those links will be in there as well. Thanks, Shar. Sorry.
Awesome. No worries. Thank you so much, Sean, for those updates. Let's see. Are there any final working group status updates or announcements or anything anybody would like to share before we wrap up this portion of the call? All right, I will stop my screen share and hand it over to you, Daniel.
All right, thank you very much. Let me try to start sharing from my side. So, is my screen being shared?
We can see your screen looking good.
Yep.
Yeah. Let me go into presentation mode if it will still holding up still.
Looks great. Yep.
Okay, very good. So, hi everybody, my name is Daniel Bula. I'm a digital marketing specialist, and today I have a presentation for you about Society Online, a platform concept I've been developing. Well, I've been developing it recently, but it started back in 2018. So, in this presentation, I will be talking about the vision and mission of Society Online. I'll take you through the journey since 2018. We'll be also comparing Society Online with existing e-governance platforms and draw some insight from them. I also want to talk about the importance of incorporating SSI DIDs and verifiable credentials into SOL, so that the decentralized vision is realized. And then I want to lay out some opportunities for realization of this vision, of this project, and maybe you can give me some feedback on these opportunities that I see, or or other parts of the project, what will resonate with you. Okay, so let's start things off with the mission and vision. What is Society Online? The vision of Society Online was or is to create a social network that would enable communication with governing bodies. So imagine being able to voice your opinion on public matters that the public officials share on a platform. You would be able to, or this platform would be able to quantify public opinion. And this way, there would be a communication link established between the government and the population. And there would be some form of feedback at least. So you can, one of the features that we will get to are virtual demonstrations. So as a quick example, people maybe not required to go out into the streets and shout into the wind what they think, but in a structured manner, convey it online. Yes. So this would be an overview, and Society Online started in the year 2018. Back when I was in college, this is how I looked like, still had a head full of hair. I was studying in Barcelona, Spain, and Society Online was a content marketing strategy proposal for IOTA, another cryptocurrency, which has this special form of a blockchain. They call it Tangle. So this kind of resonated with me. I was inspired by how they portray their technology, and I reached out to them with this project. I reached out to the IOTA Foundation and Biotasphere, but it was too early. It was too early for Society Online because mainly the technology that I thought that was already available, because IOTA was promoting some identity solutions and something that sounded like SSI and or verifiable credentials, but were just the initial concepts, and these technologies were being developed by the V3C, for example. So the infrastructure did not exist yet, but now it does, if I'm not mistaken. You are bigger experts in this than I am. So maybe you can tell me more if these features that I'm going to talk about now are in alignment with these new technologies that we can do with crypto. So, but I really think that the methods used to raise awareness, fight for a cause, challenge public officials, and voice public opinion in general are outdated, and they could be really enhanced using modern technology or a platform. And there are some platforms that do this, but none of them are decentralized. So I think that the decentralized platform would be really interesting for this and would solve security issues that the people have, but we will get to that. Now I want to speak about the features that I proposed in 2018, but I still propose today for this cohesive platform called Society Online. First of all, are virtual demonstrations that I already hinted at, that the people could instead of going into the streets, taking it. There is a lot of friction. You have to go to a place. The place is limited there. But maybe I can jump to this slide, which talks about these virtual demonstrations or shows the security risks which are associated with physical demonstrations and the costs with that are associated with these demonstrations. And also I started talking about the friction and the fact that it's hard to mobilize citizens to start to organize the virtual demonstration. So this could be one of the features there. Second one, real-time approval and statement ratings or agenda ratings. This feature, I envisioned something like this. Um, the design of this slide is not the best, but I can explain it to you this way. On the left-hand side, you have a blue box with a political entity. In this case, a politician, and there is a very simple rating. Do you like him or dislike him? You click, and then the ratio is calculated. Then in the middle, you have a gray box with tiers 1 to 4. And these tiers are statements or agendas or something that the politician stands behind. And he discloses this publicly. He places on the platform that this is my agenda and what do you think of it? Then the people can vote on it and say this piece of agenda I support, this I don't. And then the orange box on the very right hand side is the three boxes in that orange box are connected to one individual agenda or statement that politician posted, and that's just a perspective from a media entity on this statement. So there could be more the information about the politicians' intents and agendas could be more condensed and could be tracked in real time using something like this. This is a rough sketch, but just an idea. And if we have these two features, so virtual demonstrations and real-time agenda ratings, essentially these are theoretical solutions intended to enhance accountability for the actions of public officials because there would be a communication link established. And it's an effort to evolve the concept of representative democracy because of this real-time link. I mean, the feedback from the politicians or political entities cannot be immediate, but it can be staggered by, let's say, a month, right? There is a voting going on a statement, new agenda, etc. And after a month, a statement is published or something along those lines. But if you take these two features into consideration, you can tell yourself that this would be really interesting for a political party in an election campaign setting. So the best way maybe to enter the market with Society Online is to offer Society Online to multiple political parties at the same time during an election period, so that they can utilize the platform to mobilize their supporters and promise transparency and accountability because they will be using this new mode of communication between governments, or government entities and the population. So this is the marketing aspect that I thought of. And then there is this final feature, which would essentially pay for the platform. The platform could pay for itself if it gathers enough users. There would be extra value in their data, in the data that they would potentially share. And if we incorporated SSI, DIDs, and verifiable credentials into this platform, I think it would be quite empowering for the user to be able to sell or provide data to scientific entities and gain some status points, some karma points. They could level up in tiers based on the value they provide to scientific research. And then these data points could also be, since they wouldn't be directly connected to the person, and their personal information would not be linked to these data points, they could be siloed and they sold to commercial entities. And even these users could be remunerated for selling their data, and it can be divided between the platform and the user, the data provider, the data creator. Just like YouTube shares the revenue it gets from the advertising with the creators of their content. Opa. So now to compare society online with some existing governance platform, e-governance platforms, I really like vTaiwan. vTaiwan is a platform to facilitate public consultation and consensus building on complex national issues. It started in 2014 after a major protest against a trade agreement with China. So they integrate Polis, which is a platform to crowdsource opinions, and Polis kind of aggregates then the statements into groups. So you see where they stand, where the group stands on an issue. It's something similar to Kialo.com, which also enables the deliberation. It could be before giving a rating on an agenda. There could be a statement such as digital piracy is good. Why is digital piracy good? There are statements pro and against. And then you can go down and click on individual statements, and that secondary statement has tertiary statements. So there is this matrix of positions on an issue and sort of not agreements, but propositions for and against an argument, which you can explore and have a better understanding of the conversation. And I also envision that if someone would want to contribute, using AI, you could see if an argument has already been entered into the conversation matrix, and you can just upvote that one, so it goes up into the flow and influences the overall rating. But this is the flow used in vTaiwan, and I think this could be used for virtual demonstrations to organize them. So there would be an issue that the virtual demonstration would want to address, or kind of deliberate on. Then there would be some stakeholder discovery, inviting stakeholders and questioning them, identifying the knowledgeable people, experts, then sort of creating some initial materials that would describe the issue that will be then demonstrated against, or for example, there would be a deliberation section. So for example, the example I just explained a minute ago about Kialo with the conversation matrix, etc. And during the virtual demonstration, there could be a live stream from the organizer, and in each member, or not member, but each participant in the virtual demonstration could be allocated one sort of expression in that virtual demonstration. So a user could write a piece of text, upload a picture or a short video, voicing his opinion on the matter, and then the others would upvote or downvote this piece of content, and it would elevate the most resonant sort of voices up for the media and for everyone to see. Yeah, so just some ideas, some inspiration from other platforms. Then there is this other platform to form petitions, which could be a fourth additional feature. It's actually pretty interesting. So this works in the UK. You submit a petition. If it gets above 10,000 signatures, you get a response from the government, which we can see on the right-hand side. And if the petition gets 100,000 votes, you get to the parliament, and there is a discussion in the parliament regarding this petition. Also could be incorporated. Well, and now incorporating SSI, DIDs, and VCs. These are the descriptions of these technologies. I think I don't need to go through those, so I can just say how it would impact society online. So with self-sovereign identity, we would empower individuals to manage their digital identities without the reliance on centralized authorities. This would significantly reduce risk associated with data breaches and unauthorized data access. Through DIDs, users would create a unique decentralized identifier or identifiers that would enhance privacy and autonomy. And through verifiable credentials, users could present their cryptographically secure proofs of specific attributes, and such as eligibility to participate in voting or citizenship status, etc. Very important. I think it's actually if we go back to this slide, it's this petition was to legislate against any form of digital identity. You see, and the people have a problem if their digital identity is centralized. It's an issue because for example, in this case of this platform, you have to sign the petition, and you kind of de-anonymize yourself in kind of voicing your opinion. And I think this can be prevented using SSIs, DIDs, and VCs in a cohesive platforms such as Society Online. And so how bring this into reality? How? One way I thought of recently is through the Brazil 2026 election period. I contacted Civic, which is a technology provider. They have SSI and DID and CV VC solutions. And I crafted this project timeline actually, which I'm trying to stick to, but I don't know. It's tough, you know. It's a very concept stage project, idea, vision, and so I contacted Civic 2 weeks ago. They said they would go over the project and get back to me. Let's see. Then I could contact NGOs, and if I get some support from a technological entity, I could contact NGOs and then contact another technological entity, Serpro, which is the biggest technological company, government-owned technological company, and they have the infrastructure to scale Society Online in Brazil, for example. And after contacting these NGOs, Serpro, and having a technological partner, I could contact political parties and actually offer them the possibility to engage their voters and enhance their campaigns with Society Online in the next political elections. And then the third way of approaching this would be approaching existing platforms, which are mostly open source, and somehow try to decentralize or promote decentralization in their solution, so that this security aspect is not such a concern for users, and more participatory democracy solutions can be implemented. So thank you. That was Society Online. And now, if you have any form of feedback or uh, guidance, or I would appreciate any form of feedback on this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Thanks for that presentation. I think this is very top of mind, certainly in the US with the election coming up, thinking about the processes for voting and polling and demonstrating and petitioning. So yeah, a lot of really interesting thoughts. Could you tell me more about the IOTA background, the cryptocurrency?
The IOTA background, yes, it's quite interesting. They have this it's not actually a blockchain because it acts differently. It's called a cyclic graph, decentralized acyclic graph, but in layman terms, what happens, it's with each kind of transaction that gets if you want to send a transaction on the Tangle on IOTA's blockchain or network, you have to sort of verify two previous transactions. It's designed for the Internet of Things, and it's designed to be feeless, because when devices will be transacting with each other, just a couple cents, having transaction fees would be problematic. And so I thought, oh, it's great. So this way we could vote, and it could be a really lightweight architecture for Society Online to run on.
Okay. Cool. Thank you
Yes.
for that background.
Yes, IOTA is interesting, but they seem to be busy with other projects. I don't know, they are not getting back to me
Okay.
with my reaching out to them regarding this. So yeah. So you guys, since you're an identity special interest group, you know about SSI, the decentralized identifiers and verifiable credentials. You know a lot of this about this stuff, right?
Yeah, the focus of this group, is specifically related to identity. So we have of course, our working group updates that you heard are very focused on our communities and the Open Law Foundation and TOIP. And yeah, our speakers are also very involved in the decentralized identity realm.
Cool. So, and do you think that it's feasible to sort of have these proposals of these kind of features and try to incorporate these technologies into it?
It does seem like, well, and feel free, anybody else, to also jump in. I'm really curious to hear others' opinions. But it does seem like, it's a really interesting application. I can see how using blockchain as a decentralized way of storing information and facilitating these kinds of interactions between citizens and government is really useful. One thing that I did think about during your presentation is we had a speaker, Eric Scouten from Adobe several months ago, and he talked about his content authenticity initiative. So making it really easy to verify the source of an image or video with a cryptographic stamp. I was thinking about that particularly with your second feature that you discussed, the real-time approval and statement
agenda ratings. Yes.
Right, where you can see we can really understand a politician's values, their history and policies in the past. So making sure that information is accurate. So that was one thing I thought about. But I'm curious what others in the group think as well.
Hi, Daniel. Alfonso Favela from Mexico. I don't speak Catalan, but I could talk in Spanish to you later. Um, e-governance is a very important issue, but there are countries that do not know about it or have not had the chance to apply it successfully. So my question to you is, how do you plan to publicize the best practices that you have had so that more people in more countries know the possibility of these platforms?
Yes, so a part of the supporting documents I sent to Civic and is the proof of concept of other countries using this, like Estonia and Iceland. They have already these e-governance systems in place that already passed laws, and the public votes on them, and it works. So that's sort of a proof of concept. Some cities have adopted these open source platforms for city management or and city governments, like Helsinki and in Finland. So there are already examples of these things working, and so totally, it's a good thing to see what already works and take inspiration from that. I tried to research some the deliberation platforms like Kialo and the others. So, but how your question was, how would I present this? Well, I would have to do more research, I guess, to find the best. No. Tell me. Go on.
My question goes more along the lines of getting traction for all the platforms, not only for yours. And maybe something good for you and yours could be to help the other platforms to
Yeah.
be better known around the world. So if you could, for instance, promote a league of platforms, a league of cities and governments that are already using them, and get them to present in a continuous manner best practices, because the importance of this technologies, and that's something that Trust over IP has recognized quite well. Together with technology, you need governance. You need the institutional part. So to get more institutions involved, and mainly to get more citizens aware, okay, that could help you and help us, which are on the other side of the computer screen.
Yes. So you suggest reaching out to already functioning platforms and help them with the marketing side of things.
It would be marketing, correct? But maybe I would phrase it a bit different. I would phrase it in terms of traction, in terms of recognition, and in terms of application. So rather than seeing this as a competition, a competitive issue, it's more like creating a corporation, a consortium of platforms that help e-governance.
All right.
And by helping e-governance, they help themselves and the rest. And the critical mass is important to get traction and for the citizens.
That's a really interesting concept, to at least how I interpreted it. It's like there are these several types of platforms that several types of cities use, and maybe if an entity comes around and says like, look, these are all the platforms collectively, and these are the best things that they have collectively achieved, and maybe have some social media pumping out these things on a regular basis, etc., etc. Yeah, interesting, cool input. Thank you for that.
It's an issue that matters a lot to me.
Mm-hmm.
And for specific circumstances, I know how it feels when there is no traction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't talk about politics in Zoom or in any social media, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Thank you.
One thing that I was curious about, related to the first feature, about demonstrations.
Yes, virtual demonstrations.
Yeah. So one thing I'm curious about is that it seems like you talked about removing the friction. Based on my understanding, it seems like with protesting, friction is kind of the point, right? That it's the point is that a protest creates inconvenience, and it's in your face, and it forces you to think about things that you that are more comfortable not to. And so I'm curious. I also see, as you said, that many of the methods of relating between citizens and the government and politicians are very outdated, and there are ways we can leverage technology to make those interactions more effective. So I guess I'm just curious, with the virtual demonstrations, how do you think that those can achieve the same level of I guess inconvenience and friction?
Inconvenience, yes.
Yeah.
When you say inconvenience, the thing that pops into my mind is just stop oil. You know, it's just stop oil and people gluing themselves to the roads and just walking slowly and throwing stuff at you know, these paintings, the soup at paintings. You know, maybe inconvenience isn't really the best way to demonstrate or point out an issue, a problem. Maybe, you know, if everyone there on the platform is verifiably a citizen, like you would know, like for sure, that if a person joins that event at that time from 5 to 6, like we are joining now, and listens to the live stream that is going on and leaves his or her voice there in a form of the a text message or an image or a short video, and it gets upvoted, downvoted, then you get this leaderboard of all the opinions and voices that participated in the demonstration. You would have a lot of content. One, you will have content that you can point at and the media can point at. And since there would be a process of creating this virtual demonstration, it wouldn't be like there would be too many of them, but there would be more of them than there are now, I would say. But I think it's possible to have the right amount of restrictions so that not too many virtual demonstrations will be happening all the time, but it will be balanced, and just I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Thank you. Yeah,
Well,
I can see what you mean about how it does make it more accessible to participate in demonstrations.
yeah, it makes it accessible, and during the demonstration you could have if a demonstration gets formed, then a counter demonstration can get formed, and you will have this content from both sides, and you wouldn't have the risk of these not parties, two sides clashing on the street, and it could be interesting. It could be interesting. And if the planning of the demonstration, and if the organizers are serious and do it well, it could be productive. It could be
Mhm, mhm.
productive.
Yeah, it makes me think about what is gained and lost in being physically in a group of people, and how,
Hmm.
in terms of the things that are lost, what are the ways that technology can try to make being in a space more accessible, but at the same time recreate kind of the feeling of being in a huge group of people, like in a
Hmm.
church or a concert, or that there's something about physical presence that is
Yeah.
really powerful. And so in a technical solution like this, how do we
Hmm.
make that as real as it can be?
Yeah, yeah. That's a great question, and I think it's important to try to recreate this to the best of our ability. And I think that having this live stream being there and having this live chat being there, um, you know, uh, well, a live chat that is going on for that hour, and a stream that is going on for an hour may be interrupted with uh, expert messages from the other side,
Mhm.
like ads. You would have two virtual demonstrations going on at the same time, and one would uh, stream an ad of their perspective into the other at a certain time, and it could be, you could really play around with it,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Thank you.
Yeah.
What other thoughts do people on the call have, or other questions? I was curious, could you share a bit more about the payment model,
The
where it sounds
payment
like
model.
users, yeah, can monetize their data?
Yes, yes. So I thought, like, if we have SSI there, it's at least the way I envision this is you could really like detach the user identity from the data points, but make the data points still very legitimate, and prove that they come from a real citizen. So if you have a platform where everybody's on, you can enable scientific surveying with this, and with that collect more data points, and then if a user decides, he can switch off on a toggle that would enable all the data points that they create to be sold anonymously to commercial entities. So you could create vast amounts of data by combining the data points that come from the um, scientific surveying, and when the government surveys the population, then if the user decides that this information and data points are for sale because they can be anonymized, then they can earn money from it. And this money could be divided between the platform and the user, and it can be a source of revenue. That's
Yeah,
that's how
interesting.
I envision it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that does sound like a really interesting way to both retain privacy, but also be able to do this mass information sharing and surveying.
Yeah,
Yeah, super interesting.
yeah. And it could all come together. It you know, without the scale and without it being a very I mean, you have surveying portals already now, but you couldn't do it on a large scale as this would enable it to.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, I think we are just at the end of our time, but thank you so
Yes.
much for this presentation. It was really
No,
interesting and we appreciate you joining us.
great. Thanks for the opportunity. I didn't know this would be also on YouTube somewhere.
Yeah,
Thanks, Dale.
yeah,
This has been
absolutely.
recorded. It's going to be up. It's up on YouTube right now. I'm going to add the title card so it looks good as opposed to dead air with my name on it to start with. So,
All
but
right.
it's up there right now.